Let's bring in Nationals MP and former Resources Minister Keith Pitt now, joining us from Bundaberg. Great to talk to you, Keith, again. I want to get to the voice in a second. But first up, this wind farm development up at the Burdekin, Apple, the digital giant, pulling out because they don't like the damage it's doing to the environment. That's a good first step, isn't it? Because some of these wind farms are going to do enormous damage to pristine bushland.
And that doesn't count how you get them there, Chris. And the safeguard mechanism is going to drive up the cost of those, particularly for cement. I'm told some of the big ones up to 600 tonne in the base, and that's now going to cost more. There'll be damage on the ground. There'll be damage, of course, for birds that keep getting hit. They're not green and they don't work. I mean, that's my fundamental view.
Yeah, they certainly don't work, and they're not too green when they're going into pristine bushland. Let's get on to the voice. Sad news today, surely for anyone on the coalition side of politics, that Ken Wyatt, the first Indigenous man to be Indigenous Affairs Minister in this country, has resigned from the Liberal Party, effectively because he's disenchanted about its opposition to the voice. Your thoughts on that?
I spoke to Ken a couple of weeks ago, and he was in good spirits and enjoying what he was doing. But that's entirely a decision for him. I know exactly what happened with some of the proposals were put up, but clearly I can't talk about what happens in cabinet and the previous cabinets that I served in. Ken's entitled to his view, as we all are. But I know Ken, and he'll continue to be the respectful individual he's always been. You won't see him calling people an undertaker or any of the other things that are floating around in today's press.
Let me just show you something of Ken Wyatt. I shared a stage with him going back a couple of weeks ago too. We were talking about the voice, and he talked there about the damage rejection of the voice might do. Here it is.
But what I want to see is a combination of both sides of politics come together and look at a pragmatic, practical solution for changing the current status quo. Your grandchildren will be having this discussion in 50 years' time. And if we lose this question, then I think reconciliation will be damaged.
Yeah, now when you see him saying that and then the coalition says no, you can understand why he's so disenchanted now. But I think the point here for the coalition, you've lost a Nationals MP, Andrew G, in New South Wales. The point here is just how badly the coalition might divide now if people within the parties are feeling like that.
Well, Chris, people are entitled to their views. Backbenchers are entitled to their views. They've expressed them. This course is set, and the course of action has been set by Prime Minister Albanese. We know the time frame. They've now issued what the changes to the Constitution will be. Mate, if wishing for things to be different would make me fitter and better looking, well, I would have done it. But it doesn't work that way. It is now a decision for the Australian people. I'll be campaigning no in the most respectful way that I can possibly manage. As you will, I don't expect that you'll be calling me a racist, and I won't be calling you names. It'll simply be about the issue and the policy and whether we think people should support it.
Well, indeed, what we're talking about, that respectful debate, there's been a lot of focus on Noel Pearson's interview today. Very colourful, emotive language, but some people are saying it went over the top. Let's have a look at some of what Noel Pearson had to say.
He's like the national undertaker, seeking to kill Uluru and bury it in a hole. He's going to be stalking around the countryside trying to kill the Uluru Statement from the heart.
Now, that's very evocative language, but no one can seriously complain about that in a serious debate about a serious issue, surely.
Oh, Chris, I think it'll just get up people's nose, to be honest.
Well, it might do. It might do, for sure. But what I'm saying is we can't, no one's trying to say that that's unfair public debate, are they?
What I'm saying is there's a better way to approach this. The Australian people want to hear about facts. They want to see information. They want to see advice from specialists in particular fields. This will be a vote of the Australian people, a decision by them. I am opposed on principle because I just don't support splitting our country. I believe we are one people, and that is the way we should be as we go forward.
Understandably, and that's well expressed. But if people are going to complain about Noel Pearson using the term undertaker and trying to kill off Uluru, then how do you feel about people on your side likening this idea to apartheid?
Well, I haven't heard any of my colleagues say that, Chris, to be honest.
Well, would that be going too far?
Specific.
Well, I've heard that bandied around quite a bit.
Well, I think that would be very disappointing. As I've said, the course is set. We know what the proposed change is. It is now up to the Australian people to make sure they're informed. That's what I want to see. That's why I was so disappointed that we don't see equal funding for the yes and no case, that it's not being coordinated through government. I don't want to see us turn into America, where who pays wins. I think that is bad for our country in the future. The idea that corporates will get on one side or another, sporting bodies will get on one side or another, and that's how we determine a change to our most important document in terms of the Constitution. It's not the approach I agree with.
Yeah, look, I think you're right. There's going to be a lot of corporate money and private donations funding a yes case, and probably less on the no case. I don't know, but I'm expecting there'll be a big difference in the spending there. But in the end, it's only the individual Australian voters who get to make the choice. So that's the course we're set on, Keith, and we'll keep discussing it. Thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great Easter.
It's great to be with you, and same to you.
Keith Pitt there up in God's own Bundaberg. They tell me it's God's own, and I've never been to Bundaberg. I've got to rectify that sometime soon.